Sometimes you can pick up these old scissors at like a flea market or a garage sale, and they still cut okay, but they sure could be cutting a lot better. So, as you can see, the reason why these aren't cutting very well is because they're super loose. And we need to tighten that up. And the same with this other pair here. They cut okay, but you have to put pressure on them. If you don't, it can't cut. So we need to tighten up this screw if you can. Sometimes that's stuck. One important thing whenever you're taking out these screws is find a screwdriver that fits perfect. This feels really tight and nice. But this big screwdriver won't fit on that nut because it's too small. So we have one that's just a little bit smaller, but it still feels really nice. Now we're gonna go ahead and take just some normal motor oil and put it in there and try to penetrate through the screw. And if you mix oil or transmission fluid and acetone, that's a really good nut breaker. To get this screw unstuck, we're gonna put the screwdriver right in there and then take a hammer and pound the top of it to jar the rust loose. Now that the rust is a little bit loose, we should be able to turn that screw just like that. Now that we have the bolt moving, we're just going to take it out the rest of the way so we can sharpen these individually and get this really nice. So here's one side of the scissors, and we have a fine metal file here. What we're going to do is just flatten out the surface and get all the burrs off. It's very important to keep the file very flat along the surface of the scissors here, just to flatten everything out and go in the hatching pattern just to see where the high spots are. And you can see along the edges is really where it's high. Down here, this part is a little low, but whenever we tighten it up, that'll definitely help it get tighter. So now we're just following the edges and just crisp up all the corners so it'll really be able to shear the paper. You definitely don't want to go along edges that aren't there and make up new edges. Follow the factory edges because that's the way the tool's designed to cut. Now we're going to use a sharpening stone to get the final edge on the blade. Now we have both of these flattened. They sure even feel better if I just hold it together without the screw. So let's go ahead and put the screw back in and see how well these cut. The threads on the screw, you can see, are actually damaged, so we're going to have to repair those. This screw here and the threaded hole is an 832. These 832 screws that we have fit right in here perfectly, so we need to repair this with the 832 die. Now let's go ahead and put the die into the die wrench, and then we'll be able to clean up those threads with the screwdriver on the other end and just work it in carefully with the screwdriver. Whenever you're running the die, make sure you always have oil on that thread to keep it running smoothly. We're able to take this die all the way over these threads, and they're much cleaner now. So let's go ahead and try to reassemble these scissors. And we could have just gotten a different screw, but this has the chamfer that fits right into these scissors, and it looks just like it's supposed to. You can see that threads in much better. Let's go just a little more. You see, if we tighten this screw here to a good tightness, if we open and close it just a few times, it's already back to just how loose it was before. So we need to put a little bit of Loctite or something on that thread to keep the thread from backing out. Now we're going to go ahead and take some of this thread locker and just put a little bit on the bolt. It doesn't need much. So we want to put some thread locker on the inside threads here, but we need to clean out all the grease first. So we're going to use a Q-tip and just clean that out. before we put the thread locker on. Just a little bit of thread locker in there, and then we'll let that harden and then put it back together in a few hours. With the smaller pair of scissors, let's do the same thing that we did on the big pair. This one's a little tighter. Now with the bigger screwdriver, we're able to get this screw to start to move just enough. Now this one's even tighter, and it sure cuts just amazing. All it needed was just a little tighten up. It doesn't even need sharpened. Now let's try polishing these up a little bit on the buffing wheel. Now with this all buffed up on the wheel, I'm just going to take a cotton cloth and wipe off all the extra polish that was transferred onto here. And these probably are shinier whenever they're brand new. I mean, those really glimmer in the light. Now with the thread locker on this pair of scissors, that screw doesn't move at all. And this is at good tension. So we cleaned up this thread, took away the damaged threads, and now it can get back under tension, and there's no wobble there. Back to normal scissors, and these we were able to just tighten the screw, and now these work great, just like we wanted them to. Both of them are phenomenal scissors. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.